Well, welcome to Online Steps to Success. This is our very first mini series, and I'm really, really excited about it. My name is Allison Dalkey, and my goal always on this channel is to help you dream big, work smart, change yourself, and change your world through your business and your life and your family. And I'm just really glad that you're here. So, like I said, this is our first mini series. I'm really excited about it. You're going to see that I don't edit videos. I'm like the worst person ever. I just go live and I make it work. So I'm probably going to say something dumb at some point, but maybe you'll love me more for it. I don't know, but we'll see. All right. So each week we're going to drip out a video over a certain topic of content that is aligned to help you do one of those four things: dream big, work smart, change yourself, or change the world around you. And this week, or the next few weeks, we're really in that work smart area, even though I am the dreamer and we're always talking about chasing big dreams. And I'm in the middle of chasing a big dream right now, which I'll share with you over the coming weeks if you kind of don't know what's going on in our lives. But this is actually my first video from this very small, brand new office of mine. It's a closet in our 2,000 square foot manufactured home that my family of six just moved into, approximately a month ago. And we're finally settled and kind of have our feet on steady ground, and we're chasing some big dreams. We just bought 50 acres and are planning on building a lodge for retreat space. We're building an event venue and eventually building our forever home. And so all the things. And in the middle of it all, I want to help you chase your wildest dreams too and help realize what those dreams are. So I am the dreamer, always talking about dreams. If you haven't seen my Power of a Dream video, I'd love for you to go watch it. It's linked in the comments. So today, though, we're starting our planning series. So this entire series is going to be about planning and time management. And we're going to talk specifically about big picture planning. Now, if you've never done a big picture planning session, I would say I'd love for you to schedule out some time, 30, 45 minutes, where you can kind of get quiet and alone and gather the things that I'm going to tell you in a minute that you need to sit and kind of walk through this with me. Um, Planning sometimes can feel like a little bit of a waste of time if you're not used to planning, because planning takes time and it takes intentionality, but it makes us so much more efficient and makes everything run smoother in the long run. But it takes time on the front end. So that's kind of what we're going to dig into today. A little bit about me. I've spent the past 15 years growing a thriving direct sales business while kind of in the middle of all that, realizing all the things that I really felt God put on my life as a call. And so we're chasing some big dreams right now, not just about our land, but also writing a book and doing some other things. And so that's where we are at. And I want to help you get to a place where you're chasing your dreams. So, like I said, this series is not devoted to dreaming, but go watch that video if you haven't. We're going to dive into big picture planning today. Now, this is going to be helpful for you even if you don't have a small business. It's really just helpful as a mom, as a wife, if you have a work, whatever you're doing. Taking some time to really look at the big picture of our lives gives us a better grasp of what we have going on and what we need to do to be successful. So, when I am starting a big picture planning session, I need you to kind of keep a few things in mind. You're going to be looking at the next 3 months. So whatever time frame it is, I want you to look at the next coming 3 months. That's kind of where we're going to focus our big picture planning. What you're going to need for this session, you're going to need a planner. And here's the thing. I know some of you are not quote unquote planners. That's okay. I need you to kind of get there. You're going to be a better every well-rounded person if you can kind of put some intentionality in place when it comes to your time and your resources. And that's all that planning does. It helps us be intentional about the time that we're spending. So it can be, even if you don't have a planner, pull up Google Calendar. It's free. Pull up a paper calendar online. You don't need anything fancy, but you need to be able to look at the coming months. So however you do that, I am personally a paper and a digital planner. I have both. And next week, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I use Google Planner, like Google Calendar, in addition to this is my paper planner that goes everywhere with me. This is literally my life. I'm just a paper and pencil person. There's so much research that shows that when we write something down physically with our hands, as opposed to typing or, texting, that it actually processes in our brains differently. And so I'm a big advocate for writing on paper when you can. Um, I would also suggest a journal or a piece of paper or a notebook. Any of those things would work. I think we need some space to be able to make some lists of things. And then you need, of course, a pen or a pencil or a marker or crayon. I don't care, whatever you have, it's going to work great. Okay, sorry about my paper. See, notes on paper. Yes. All right. So, are you ready? Let's dive in. I'm so excited. I'm glad that you're investing this time, and I really hope that you're not just watching this and you're going to walk through this with me, because that's where you're going to see change happen. So, I want you to start with this big picture plan. I want you to look at the coming 3 months. If you're on your computer, on your phone, whatever, I want you to look at the coming 3 months. And I want you to make sure that in those 3 months, you have all the things that you know are already going on scheduled. So these are big things: birthdays, trips, anniversaries, um, sporting events. If you have children in school and you are living the life of sporting events, feel your pain and glory. It's all great and beautiful. But I've got 4 kids. I think I mentioned that we're a family of 6, and we are only 2 of them are in sports right now. Well, we were doing baseball and track and powerlifting this spring. And so we have a very full schedule. And it took me an hour to put all of those things in Google Calendar the other day. And some of you are like, well, that's a waste of time. It's not, I promise. It's worth the time and intentionality to really set your schedule. So I want you, if you haven't done this, to really make sure that you have everything that's coming up in the next 3 months in your schedule. It's the end of February right now. So I'm looking at March, April, and May. And that means I'm looking at Easter coming up. That means I'm looking at Mother's Day approaching. Spring break is in March. We have 2 kid birthdays in March. It's a big month for us. We also have, what other big things are going on? Teacher Appreciation Week is going to happen. All of those things that are on your schedule that you know you have coming up. If you have a trip planned, my husband and I are going to Mexico at the end of March, which is much needed. And we need some time to sit and dream and just be. And I'm excited about that. So all of those things you want to make sure you have penciled in somewhere that you can physically see. I know that some of you like have it in your brain and you function that way, maybe, but I want to challenge you to say, maybe what if you just put it down and we're able to look at it? Let's just see if it helps. It might. It might. Just trust me and let's go with it. So look at those 3 months and make sure that you've got all the things on your list, on your calendar. This isn't really a list yet. We're working in a calendar. So put all those things on a calendar. I think I'm the only person in America that still buys whiteout. But I do, because I write in my planner in pen, and then I have to consistently white things out, and that's okay. Anybody else buy whiteout? I just need to know if you do, because I won't feel so alone. I mean, they're still making it, so they can't just be making it for me. All right, so you've got all your things on your calendar. You're probably going to need to pause this as you're doing this. That's what I would love for you to do, is really sit and make sure you have everything down. Got it in your Google Calendar, you've got it on your phone calendar, whatever, you've got it on your paper calendar. You've got it in a place. So make sure that this would be the time. Go gather the schedules, go gather your whatever, put it all out there, get it all where you can see it. So if you need to pause, that would be the time to pause and make sure that you have all of that done. So after you have everything, all the events and the things that are happening on a planner, in your calendar, they're all listed out. I want you to, now we're going to shift a little bit. Get that notebook, get that piece of paper, your journal, whatever you have. And we're going to start making a list of just all the things you have to do. This is the part that's kind of not fun and overwhelming at first. I want you to go with it. I want you to feel through the tension of it and just start making the list. What are your responsibilities? As a mom, as a wife, as a business owner, in your work, what are the things that have to get done? Now, if you work at a traditional job and you go to work, that might be a lot easier for you to do this. If you are a small business owner and there's things that have to be done in your business, this might be a little overwhelming, because you are the business owner and you have to make the list of the things that need to get done, right? But we have to recognize what those things are, and we have to look at what we're spending our time on. So my best suggestion to you would be, start with your home responsibilities. What are the things that you have to do around the house? Some of you would call these chores. Things that need to get done: laundry, and maybe meal prep, grocery shopping, meal planning, cleaning. What are the things that have to get done in your home? And then also think about your kids. What are the things that you spend time doing with your children? This is aside from like the events that you're going to, because we already have those scheduled in the time slot on the calendar. But what are kind of the to dos with? And I don't like to think of it that way when you think about your kids. It's not a to do, but it's something that takes time. What are the things that you spend time with your children doing? I really love reading out loud with my kids. In this season of us moving, that kind of fell by the wayside. And so when I was doing this just earlier, kind of making my lists of all the things, that's one of the things that I want to make sure that I'm making time for, that I'm making time to read out loud to my kids on a very regular basis. The other thing I love doing with my kids is now that I'm in town, we were 30 minutes from where they go to school. Now we're where they go to school. And so it's a really good fit for us. But now that we're closer, I can go in the day and take them to lunch. So that's been scheduled into my new rhythm for the next 3 months, that once a week I go take one kid out. And so they each get to go out to lunch with mom once a month. And I just get some one on one time with them. It takes 20 minutes out of my work day and it's just a sweet time, but it's something that takes time. So, what are those things that you spend time doing with your kids that also need time and take time? If you're a nursing mom, like nursing is one of those things that takes a lot of time, and it can be challenging, and it can be the sweetest gift. All my babies are not babies anymore, and so my last one I knew was my last, and I just treasured that time more so than I did with the other kids. But anyways, off of my tangent. You know that there are things that you spend time with your kids doing that take time. Put those kind of on your list of the things you're spending with your family. So you may have a household to-do list, you may have a family to-do list. What are the things you spend time doing with your spouse? Are you guys intentionally watching a show every night? Are you reading together? Which, by the way, is really sexy. If you've never read with your spouse, you should. Um, get you a good romance and go. Another tangent. Here I go. See, someone should edit me. I should hire somebody. Anyways, we'll get to that. um, whatever you're spending time with your spouse doing, date nights, um, other things, put all the things on the list, all the things that you're spending time doing. And then you'll also need a list for your business. What are the tasks that need to be done for your business? Now, I would look at all of these tasks for your home, your business, your family, your spouse. I would look at all of them on a monthly basis. What am I spending time each month doing? Also consider the relationships in your life, community. Where are you spending time intentionally with friends or in community? Um, I had a I have one of my best friends lives in South Dakota, and I'm in Oklahoma. That's a really far, long way away. And we have to make intentional time to spend together on FaceTime, sitting down face to face. That's how you develop and curate relationships, right? But we have to make time for that. And so that's one of the things on my list with my friends. Maybe that's my in person friends. We're going to grab coffee or going to grab lunch, but um, whatever that looks like, make sure those things are on your to do list. Okay. This is probably a time when hopefully you've been talking over me or writing over me talking, but you may need to pause and really get everything on the list. Now, leave some space because you're going to start to think of other things down the road that, oh, I forgot about that. One of the things I want you to add to this column as you're making these lists and kind of categorizing things, I want you to make sure that you have space in there for self care and rest. So, my family, we are not Jewish, by the way. We are Christian. I'm saying by the way because I'm going to get there in a minute. Anyways, we practice the Jewish tradition of Sabbath. Um, it's biblical both in the Old and the New Testament, but it's a full day of rest and nothing but rest and worship. No to dos, no expectations. We've done that for a few years now. It has changed my life more than anything that we have ever spent time implementing. And I'm sure I'll talk about that in future sessions, but that's one of the things that I have to make sure there's complete margin for in our life is a full day of rest. Now, that's something we have to fight really hard for. And that's part of why we do this big picture planning session, because it helps us really zone in on, can we really honor our Sabbaths? Can we really keep our Sundays just holy and for us and nothing else to do except rest, worship, play. So that is really important. But also, you may not be anywhere close to a full day of rest, and that's okay. But maybe that means even just your physical rest. Are you making sure that there's time for you to get to bed at a good time? Are you taking time to for your hobbies, whatever those are? And I know a lot of women, especially in the early years of motherhood, would have told me, do tell me that they really don't have time for hobbies. It's something we have to fight for. So I love to read. I want to make sure that in my schedule, there's time for reading, that I'm making sure that I'm holding boundaries in place so that I'm not working until all hours of the night, that I'm leaving space to watch a show with my husband, to sit outside and have a glass of wine when we watch the sunset. Like the things that make sure that there's time in your calendar for the things you want to do. This is how we live, right? By celebrating and enjoying life. I really love cooking. It's something that grounds me and takes me away from my work and my to-do list and helps create boundaries in my life. And so it's something that's a huge foundational kind of anchor in my life, is making sure that I'm getting dinner on the table on a regular basis. You may not be in that season or like that, but whatever it is for you, make sure that there's space for it and that you're recognizing that all of those things take time, right? All of it takes time. So make sure you're putting all those things on the list. Maybe you'll have a bath, make sure that I want to take a bath once a week, whatever. Put it on there. We want to make sure that we're creating space for it in your calendar. Okay. So pause if you need to finish your list of to-dos. It's a lot. It's not just to-dos, it's also things that take time. So what are the things that take time? Because I don't want you thinking about me taking a bath as a to-do that I have to check off. No, it's just something that takes time. You creating the margin to read every night or a couple times a week takes time, right? So what are the things that take time? Make sure these are all kind of listed out. Okay. Pause if you need to. All right. Now, we're going to transition a little bit from your list of all the things that take time in your life. And I want you to think about your goals. What are you working towards? So this could be personal, this could be work related, business related, all of the above. You may have goals in all of those areas. Maybe you're working on a fitness goal, maybe you're getting healthier. I am a runner. I wasn't able to run for like a year and a half. I had a vein issue, and anyways, I had to get it taken care of. And I've just started running again in the past month since we've been out on the land. And it's brought me so much clarity and joy again. And so I'm working on increasing my mileage. That's what I was telling you. It's one of my goals. But I want you to consider your goals. What are your goals? What are you working towards? And like I said, this could be anything in your life. And maybe you don't really have any yet, but I want you to think about what's an area of your life that you'd like to improve upon. Where's some place that you want to be different or better, and create a goal around that. And maybe this is the first time you've done that, and this is not a goal setting episode, but um, if you are going to set a goal, make sure that it is a SMART goal. You can Google SMART goal and see all the specifics about how to set a SMART goal. You want to make sure it's something you can achieve, that it's timely, and that you can make sure that it's something that actually happened, right? That we can check it off and say, yeah, I did that. So a bad goal is like, I want to be better at X, Y, and Z. Like I could say, I want to be better at running. That's not really a goal. It's a thought. It's an idea. A goal would be, I want to increase my running mile from a 10.5 minute mile to a 9.5 minute mile, something like that. And I put a date on the end. That's a goal. So whatever your goals, I want you to think about your goals. Last month, my goal was really for us. My only goal was for us to get settled in our home. I do not like physical stuff, and we don't have a garage. And so the boxes were just everywhere. And for me to do anything in my business, in my life, and even just feeling comfortable in my soul, I had to get everything situated. And so getting us settled was my main goal. And that meant every morning I woke up and I unpacked boxes and I found places for things, and I repacked boxes and put them in storage because we went from a 5,000 square foot house to a 2,000 square foot house. It took a minute for us to get settled, but we're settled. And now I have different goals. We're establishing new rhythms now that we're in a new city, and things are different. Everything's different. How we grocery shop and all the things. So we're establishing new rhythms, and that's one of our goals. And we're reorganizing Online Steps of Success and putting out quality content for you on a really normal basis. So it's just things like that that are your goals. One of my goals is I'm in the middle of writing a business plan for the event venue that we're about to build. So all of those goals take time, and we want to make sure that the goals that we have are aligned with the way that we're spending our time. So you have this sheet or 2 sheets or 3 sheets of paper with how you're spending your time. And we want to make sure that how you're spending your time is helping you reach your goals. Now, not everything you spend your time on is going to help you reach your goals. That's not the point. But the things that are business driven or goal driven, we want to make sure that those things are aligned with the goals that we're chasing. Does that make sense? All right. So I want you to evaluate those tasks. I want you to go back. We've looked at your goals. I would even, if it were me, I would write out my goals and say, okay, these are the things that I'm working on. I would say in this season, in all seasons, maybe you don't need more than 3 to 5 goals. We don't need to change the world overnight. We just want to get a little bit better every single day. And so, what are the things you really want to focus on in this season? Ask yourself that. Maybe you have too many goals. Maybe you need to put some to the side for now. But whatever your goals are, make sure that you've written them out. And I want you to evaluate those with your task list. So if you haven't written your goals out, I want you to spend some time right now, pause this video, write your goals out, and then come back and unpause. Okay, great. I'm glad that you did that. Now, I want you to evaluate those goals. Look at them in accordance to your tasks. I want you to ask yourself some questions about your tasks. You can probably hear my kids screaming. It's fine. Um, are those things getting you closer to your goal? Those tasks? Are there things that you may need to add to help you get closer to your goal? Are there things you may need to take away? Are there things you may need to delegate? I want you to also consider tension spots in your task list. Now, a tension spot is something that kind of always brings a problem or always gets pushed to the side or never gets done. It's something that you often will procrastinate on. That can become a tension spot. We're going to talk in coming weeks about how to create rhythms around tension spots, but a tension spot often is just an opportunity for us to reevaluate something. So, for example, one of the tension spots for our family in the past has been right after everybody gets home from school. They're all home at like 4:15, and it just became this kind of cluster of mess. Like it was stressful to me. They're cranky and whiny. It was just this constant tension spot. And it wasn't a task list, right? This wasn't on my task list, but it was a tension spot in our home. And so I started brainstorming, like, okay, what can I do to make this a less tense time for all of us? Most of it was they just needed a targeted goal. So I've very intentionally started just at 3:30 when I'm shutting down my business day. I go into the pantry and I put out a snack. So listen, my kids go in and get whatever snack they want. Like there's plenty of things for them to eat, but it's more that them coming home from school, putting their stuff up, trying to make a decision. I just lay something out. And it has made things so much simpler. It doesn't take me a lot of time, but it's helped ease a tension spot in our family. Laundry used to be a tension spot for my family. I used to try to do laundry every day. Some of you do that and it works. It didn't work for me. Um, Instead, I started doing laundry once a week. Now that sounds crazy, but I really do spend most of the day doing laundry, but it kind of has become my chore and Sabbath prep and get all the things done around the house day. So I do laundry, and then I have all my other things that I'm doing. I'm watering plants in between, then I'm folding laundry and I'm switching. It just works better for us. And I also only do one kid's load at a time. So I used to just mix it all in. And I found that sorting everybody's like the mental capacity for 6 people's clothes in one load of laundry was too much for me because I have to mentally process like whose shirt is this, whose underwear are these, whose pants are these, like and then there's 100 piles. So now I do Lucy's laundry, one load. I will put her with her brother Wyatt because it's very easy for me to separate the two of those. I know that they're not the same. I will never wash my boys' clothes together because it's so much brain capacity to sort. I just can't do it. So that it's like a simple thing, but it's helped me a ton. So maybe you need to delegate. Maybe you need to um, do something differently in one of those tasks that really becomes a tension spot for you or gets procrastinated or becomes a trouble spot. Think about this is the time to sit and think about, is that something I need to be doing? Is that something I can do differently? Is there a better way to do it? Ask yourself those questions. This is how we get better at our time and allow more space and margin for things that we love. Okay. There may be things you need to take off your list, especially if you're a business owner. I would highly suggest that there are things that you need to take off your to-do list when it comes to your business. Some of you are doing some busy work that is not income producing, and that's not going to help you get closer to your goal long term. I know you're doing some things that are maybe fun or things you think you should do. Really ask yourself if those things are getting you closer to your goal. And if not, and you still need the outcome of that, let's say you're maybe sampling a product. Well, maybe you're spending time creating samples, but you're not seeing a return on your investment of time. So the goal is either new customers or sales, right? Well, if you're not getting those things or not getting them on a high return, ask yourself, well, what's another way that I could get new customers or increase my sales? What's another way that might be more efficient, that might take less time, that may not become a tension spot for you? Ask yourself all those questions about each of your tasks. Um, After you've kind of looked through, you should have some things marked out. Maybe you have some things you want to do differently and try to do differently in the coming months. That's good. Now I want you to start looking at those tasks and sort of I want you to mark them. Are you doing these things daily, weekly, or monthly? Not everything in your life needs to be done every day, right? But some things do. Um, some things only need to be done once a week. So maybe you put a dot by the things that need to be done weekly, maybe a star by the things that need to be done monthly. I don't care. Highlight them in different colors, whatever you want to do. But begin to sort them out: daily, weekly, and monthly tasks. Okay. This is helping us in our big picture planning. I promise. I'm so proud of you for like diving in and doing this work. I know it takes time and a lot of thought energy. It takes so much thought energy. But I promise you it's worth it. And this is a system that you want to continue to do over and over again every few months as you kind of dive into getting intentional about how you're spending your time. So you also may have a few quarterly tasks. Maybe big picture planning is one of those quarterly tasks. Maybe there's a trip in a quarterly, whatever. Like you may have some quarterly things that need to be done. So once you have those things separated, pause if you need to. Once you have them separated and organized by daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, now I want you to look at these next 3 months. We're really going to start diving into, okay, how do I make these things happen in a way that helps me thrive, is good for my family, is good for my business? Okay. We're going to focus on a week at a time, because if we start to try to do the whole month, it gets really, really overwhelming. So we're going to start with a week at a time. I want you to take the list that you have, and I want you to either mark or make a new list. I don't care how you do it. What are the things that need to get done next week? So I want you to just think about next week. What are those things on that list that have to get done next week? Make a new list or mark those things in a certain way. Pause if you need to. What needs to get done next week? So now I want you to take those tasks and I want you to look at your schedule. So right, we have our calendar of like things that have to be done. I have to be at work from 9 to 5, or we have a baseball game on Tuesday night, or I know that the kids have to be at church on Wednesday. Whatever the schedule is, what things your spouse is going on a work trip and he's going to be gone this time. You have all the things down for what's happening in the week. I want you to think now about, okay, when is the best time for me to get the laundry done? When's the best time for me to plan our meals? When do I want to do that? Because if we want to eat, I've got to figure out what we're going to eat. We've got to grocery shop, right? When's the best time for me to grocery shop or order pickup or have it delivered, whatever? You guys, there's no grocery delivery in my town anymore. And it's been a transition for me. All right, I'm not going to whine about it. But you know what I mean? It all takes time. When are you going to do those things next week? Look at your soul tasks, your self-care. Tell yourself, I want to take 3 baths next week, or I want to go for 4 runs, or I want to read every day a fiction book. Like I want to sit down and read before I go to bed every day. What are the things that are going to help you thrive? When are you going to do those things? For me, I have to put a bedtime in my weekly plan, because if I don't, guess what I will do? I will keep watching Netflix. My husband and I did a no TV rule last year. No TV. The caveat was, except for shows that we were already watching. So if a new season came out, then we got to watch it. We've extended that this year. So we really don't watch TV, except we have like, I shouldn't say we don't watch TV. That's not fair. We don't watch new shows. So we have our few shows that the new episodes come out and we're like, and now we get to watch TV. But I am the one that will, Netflix will shame me and be like, are you still watching this? Yes, I am. So I need a bedtime. Put those things in your calendar. Taking care of yourself is important. And then start looking at your business. When ideally would I like to get these things done? Now, here is the caveat to all of this. And this is really important for you to understand. And this is where I don't want you to backtrack. You make a plan for next week. You have, okay, this is what I'm doing, X, Y, and Z. And guess what? Life happens, right? Either kid come home sick from school, or the babysitter cancels, or It's virtual day. Okay. Things happen, and that's okay. The schedule is not set in stone. It is not, oh, this is the only time these things can happen. No, it's a plan, and plans change. So you've got to be willing to give yourself grace. That is why I own 7 bottles of White Owl because plans change and it's okay. So one of my tips for you would be this. As you're kind of notching your to-do list into every week, your tasks into every day, um, make a plan for what are the 3 most important things? What are the 3 things that I could do today? They're going to make me feel the most accomplished, make me feel the best about how I spent my time, make our home feel the best, whatever. What's gonna have the best return on my time that I spend? What are the 3 things? Because for me, there's never just 3 things I have to do in a day, ever. I wish, but not when you have 4 kids and you're running a business and chasing dreams, right? That doesn't happen. So, but what are the 3 things that are really the most important? And you focus on those 3 things first. And when those things get done, the rest is bonus. Now, of course, I want to get the other things done and I need to get the other things done, but I'm going to give myself grace and I'm going to be willing to shift. Now, that is not an excuse. That's not an excuse for you to be able to procrastinate. It is instead just this mindset of plans change and that's okay. And I'm willing to change too. So what I do every day, every week is when I sit down in the morning, I have my weekly. I'll show you my weekly. This is a mess. You're gonna be like, what on earth? So this is kind of the week's plan. The things that are not highlighted, not get done yet. This was Monday. It is Friday. So all the things that are not highlighted didn't get done, and that's okay. But what I do every day is I sit down and say, okay, what's the most important things that need to get done? What do I have to make sure happen? And I get those done. At the end of the day, one of my rhythms for ending my workday, which I need because I can tend to find I can get obsessed. I can start making something better and then not want to stop and just keep going. So I can be a workaholic if I don't put boundaries in place. So one of the boundaries and rhythms that I have for my life is at 3 o'clock, I shut my day down. And I work from home and I have the freedom to do that. I know. But whatever your work schedule looks like or wherever you're at, there should be a rhythm of a transition. So my transition is that I look at all the things that I did or didn't do in the day. And then I reevaluate. Okay, I know like this, what's something that happened? Oh, I had a bunch of stuff to ship on Wednesday. It didn't get shipped. I haven't been out in like 2 days because the roads are bad. Well, it didn't get shipped. So I have to look at that and say, okay, does it need to get shipped this week? And if so, when can I get out? Right now, all the things I need to ship, I'm moving to next Monday. It's just going to work better that way. And it didn't have to go out this week. So it just got shifted and moved, and that's okay. There's things that are not going to get done by the end of the day today, and that's okay too. What I'll do is I'll take those tasks and I will fit them into next week. If they're things that still need to be done, maybe they're things that didn't need to really get done anyways, and I can shift and move. The point is that you take what you didn't do and then you reevaluate and look at what needs to be done. When you're reevaluating every day or every couple days or however that looks, you also want to make sure that you're asking yourself, does any of this need to be cut? Is any of it really still important? Because sometimes things are timely, and if we miss the time frame, it doesn't really matter anymore. Missed it, not going to happen this month. That's okay. We're going to give ourselves grace, right? So we're going to reevaluate every day. You're going to give yourself grace. And here's something I need you to know. You're not going to find worth in your to-do list. I need you to understand that you are loved and you are good just as you are, even if you don't get anything done. Now, that is not an excuse to not do anything. It's not what I'm saying. Um, you're working towards stewarding your time and your gifts and using those things well, and that matters. It doesn't always go as according to plan, and that's absolutely okay. You're loved anyways. But being intentional with your time and setting aside the time to plan and schedule each week can make a drastic difference in what you accomplish and what you get done and in your capacity for growth. So I'm really proud of you for watching this video. I love your comments, your questions. Feel free to leave those in the comments and I'll reply back to you. You can always email me too and find me at my website, www.alisondalkey.com. dreamchasingstory.com, also linked in the comments. I'd love to see you over there where we're sharing our dream chasing story about this 50 acres and all that God's called us to. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you'll share it with someone else if you found it helpful. And I'm proud of you for investing the time and energy in sitting and planning. I know it takes time, but I promise you it's worth it. Your time is going to pass. The time is going to pass whether you plan for it or not. The question is, how are you going to spend it? You get to choose. You get to pick. You can probably hear my kids screaming. It's time to go. I love you. I'm proud of you. Next week, we're going to be diving more into time management and planning. And I'm going to be showing you how I use Google Calendar to kind of organize our whole family, but also how I use it specifically for my business to schedule my team communication, my leader communication, and my customer communication. So I hope that you will join us next Saturday for another video on using Google Calendar. I'm proud of you. Can't wait to see you soon. Until then, keep dreaming big, working smart, changing yourself, and changing the world. Talk to you later.